Hello, guys. I accidentally restarted the timer, so it was gonna start counting down from 5 minutes again, and I was like, um, we're not gonna wait another 5 minutes to start stream. But how is everyone? This is gonna be very low maintenance stream. I'm very tired and just want to chill. Gonna be doing more Disney Dreamlight Valley. I don't want to risk playing a different game and have the stream lag again because I can't be dealing with it. I can't be dealing with the lag. I actually can't. But I managed to collect enough of the stuff I needed to do the quests that we were trying to do last time. So we'll be able to do that. You're good, you just got Mackey's. Food. I'm hungry. My boyfriend's coming home soon with food because he works at a food place. So I think he's getting me tacos today. Very excited for that. But I don't want to talk about food, otherwise I'm gonna get hungry. But yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you for everyone who followed me on TikTok. We hit 1K today, and it was such a nice thing to wake up to. Hitting 1K was like my year goal, so the fact that we've hit it already is crazy. I must have I underestimate myself quite a bit, so it's not a surprise that I thought that it would take me longer than a year. I mean, yeah, longer than a few months to hit 1K. So, yeah, thank you for following me on there. We'll be doing a TikTok live special like the one that I did previously again, but it'll probably be in June because I want to do my cosplay, and that is coming in the beginning of June. So when I move to my new place and get settled in, that's when we'll do the TikTok live special. We'll play all sorts of games and probably have me end up playing a horror game again, like last time. Which I'm not mad about because I bought Outlast and I want to play it, even though it's terrifying and I was screaming a lot. And then maybe we'll pie my face again if we get some of the goals. But yeah, I'm gonna have to remake a little incentives thing again, and that'll be kind of fun. And we can have the spinning wheel again, which will be fun as well. But other than that, nothing exciting has happened. Actually, I've just been revising my exams, but they're not that bad. Although all of them are essays. Two of them are scene essays, so it's not that bad. I've been working on the scene ones already. Yeah. I was posting on Twitter today about like my PCOS because I don't think many people know that I have it, and I don't think many people know what it is actually. But that's why I'm tired a lot of the time, because I get very fatigued quite quickly, and that's why I've gained a lot of weight. So like when I post pictures of like the pictures I posted today of me, that was me like 2 years ago, and since then I've been struggling more with my weight because of PCOS and other things. But yeah, I'm thinking I'll post more about that so that people can know what it is. Hi, little Shack. Or little hack. Little Shack? I don't know. It's got a 5 in it though. So I'm guessing it's little Shack. But hi. I'm just going on a yap about my PCOS, but I think not many people know what it is. So it stands for either is fine. Okay. It stands for polycystic ovarian syndrome. So basically, I have like cysts on my ovaries, which is a bit TMI, but like, yeah, and it affects a lot of my hormones. It even affects like my insulin, so I'm quite prone to diabetes, and I'm actually getting my bloods done to test whether I have diabetes or anything else as well, just to check my hormones. But that's another thing that's a bit maybe TMI. But I need to get those tested because it might be a reason why I've been so excessively tired and quite shaky. If I don't eat and stuff, I get even more tired and weak. Anyways, I feel like this is very deep and boring. Courtney knows and sympathizes you. Oh, thank you. I mean, it's quite common in women. Hi, Loot Princess. Oh my gosh. Hi. You're gonna be cute. Yeah, I feel like I don't know, it's a bit of a, I don't know, maybe it's just me that feels a bit emotional about the topic because I'm dealing with it, but I don't want to dampen the mood. It's already a low maintenance stream. I already look like I got out of bed. You just got diagnosed with it this year? Oh! Oh! Oh, you're Courtney. Okay. And you both got diagnosed this year. See, I got diagnosed when I was 17. And the way I got diagnosed was actually quite traumatic. My mom thought I was pregnant. So she made me go get blood tests. And when those come back saying I was negative, she then said to have an ultrasound. So when they found out I had PCOS, was me literally seeing the cysts on my ovaries in an ultrasound. So yeah, that was a bit traumatic, and at the time I didn't really think much of it. I just got put on the pill and I was like, cool, that's it. But now I'm 21, 22, the symptoms are worse. I don't know what's going on. I'm seeing stuff about getting like other treatments other than the pill. You got diagnosed with, but I have endometriosis. It's terrible diagnosis as well. Yeah. Oh, endometriosis. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I don't know of it. Like, I haven't personally experienced it, but I have a friend who has, and all I know is that it's like really painful. Because like with PCOS, I don't have a period to sorry, that's a bit TMI for anyone. I don't know, but yeah, I haven't. Yeah, so I don't experience like PMS or any of that stuff. It is painful in the sense that like I have a lot of lower belly fat that's recently come about within the past 2 years, and I think it is cysts and because of the PCOS, and that sometimes hurts. And like when I prod it, I can feel, okay, this might be just too much. I can feel like weird stuff, and I don't know. My boyfriend said that he probably like it's probably the cysts, like we can feel the cysts, but I haven't been checked like properly in like years. Like I feel like the doctors in the UK at least, they don't do shit for people with PCOS, or just in general they don't do shit, but mostly like if you have PCOS and you go to a GP, like a doctor in a like GP, then they're not gonna help. I hope this isn't TMI, please don't answer if it is, but are you taking inositol? I have no idea what that is. It really has me. It's not TMI at all. I'm not currently taking anything. I just like within the last 9 months stopped taking the combined pill that I was on, and because when I was 17 they just put me on contraceptive pills and was like, yeah, that's gonna regulate your period. But then when I got older, like recently when I'm now 21, I found out that I have not actually been having a period. I've been having withdrawal bleeding. Sorry, this is TMI for anyone. I'm sorry, warning. But yeah, so I'm not actually taking anything at the moment, but I am due to get my blood taken beginning of June, and then my doctor's going to be telling me what to do next. I'm asking to maybe try metformin because I know that helps with like naturally balancing things. I don't know, but I have heard of that, but I don't know what it does, and I don't know, is it like a prescribed thing or is it like a supplement? You hate how doctors just give you medicine and basically tell you to go away. Yeah, literally. That is literally what happened to me. And even when I went to see doctors throughout the years since being diagnosed, they just tell me like this is the best way to go, blah blah blah. And it's only recently when I've like gone to a doctor and I've told him straight like this is happening, this is affecting me, blah blah blah. I want to go. If you don't know what to do, then you need to tell me, you need to send me to a specialist because I can't keep living like this without knowing. And then at least in the US it's mostly like that. No, it's literally the same in the UK as well, so yeah. It's very frustrating. Yeah. You love being on metformin? Yeah, I've heard good things about metformin. I have a few friends who are also PCOS, like have PCOS, who take metformin. So you got traumatized by your first gyno appointment as he was convinced I had a kid, and I just ignored me. Oh, damn. See, if I went to a gynecologist, I would request for a female. I just feel like it's a bit hard. Like, I'm not trying to be like hate towards men, but I just feel like they won't fully understand what we are going through because they don't have ovaries. And even though they learn about it, they only know like what's on the paper rather than what's like an actual experience of having ovaries, having menstruation, having kids. Just when it comes to women's health, I want to go to a women practitioner. It's just personal preference. You believe metformin is prescribed, but it helped my cycle become regular. Oh. And it helped me just feel better in general. I hope that I can try it because I've only heard good things. Men don't know shit, speaking as a man. Well, thank you. See, I have approval to have said that by an actual man in chat. But yeah, I have heard good things about metformin and I really want to try it and just hope that it works for me. You know, this is another thing I forgot to mention. Like when I did go to the GP last year, they put me on antidepressants. And I was like, yeah, okay, I have anxiety, blah blah blah, but I'm not gonna just start taking antidepressants off the bat when I haven't been given any other solutions. And also, you're not even trying to treat my PCOS. So how are you giving me antidepressants when I have an actual like hormonal condition that could be could be the reasoning of my anxiety? Like, I don't want to take antidepressants before trying any other treatments like in a natural way. I don't want to put chemicals in my body. And now I'm not trying to like say that antidepressants are bad because they have worked for people, and I have friends who are on antidepressants who are feeling much better about themselves and with their mental health and stuff. But for a personal like thing, I wouldn't want to start it without trying other solutions first. You were given Orlissa? I don't think I've heard of that one. You're 20 and it's basically... What? Oh, it's basically a menopause medicine. It was a last resort medicine, but at the point I had mentioned surgery and she refused it. Oh my goodness. So are you taking that? See, I don't know much about endometriosis, so I don't know what any of the treatments would be. But surely there must be something other than that, especially you're only 20 years old. Okay, good, good. I'm glad that you didn't take it. Because, you know, having these conditions, it is scary, like, especially if you want to have a family. You've been raw dogging. I've been raw dogging PCOS because I stopped the pill and they just put me on antidepressants when I said I was gonna stop. Like, basically, the pill started to make me have panic attacks like basically every fucking morning. So I took the executive decision of stopping it without telling anybody. You feel helpless, and I hate birth control. Like if I was like normal, like if my ovaries were normal, then maybe taking birth control could be good for like the fact that I'm sexually active. But another TMI thing. I feel like I'm just saying so much personal stuff right now. My guy tried to get me to lose weight for what? What? Okay, you need to go to a different gynecologist. I don't like that. I don't like that one. I hope you aren't listening to that. There are other solutions on how to treat PCOS, endometriosis. There definitely are. And if you don't want to trust the doctors, there are definitely like natural ways, like lifestyle and stuff. You've been trying? Been trying to find another gynecologist? Sorry, when you said we've been trying, I was thinking the first thing that popped in my head was that like you were trying for kids. She wasn't listening. Waiting, Matthew. Oh. No, it's okay. Bro, food right now sounds so good. Yeah, I feel like I've just said a lot of personal stuff real quick. That's one way to start the thing. But it's been on my mind, and like recently I feel like I've been quite down, and like my past few streams have been very like DMC. Like we're having the deep, meaningful conversations here. Listening to your guy. Yeah. Okay. No, yeah. But definitely keep trying. And if in the meantime nothing's happening, I follow like a lot of PCOS people on TikTok and that, which they give tips on like just how to do simple stuff in your lifestyle to help. So for me, my biggest thing is like my weight gain. So I'm trying to eat like more balanced diet. I've been trying to be more active. But another thing that's come with like all of this is I'm pretty sure I've developed some sort of like agoraphobia, which is like where you have the extreme fear about like the outside. So I don't like leaving my house or my room, in fact, because I live in a shared like accommodation at uni, and I don't quite like leaving my room to go in the kitchen or to the toilet. Like I need someone with me, like my boyfriend. Like I would call him literally just so I can go cook in the kitchen. Like last week when he wasn't here, I would just call him because I wouldn't be able to leave. So like doing those little changes, like going outside more and exercising and stuff, is hard as well. And then it just all comes down to like feeling like a bit helpless because it's like if I can't make changes to my lifestyle because I feel like this because of my symptoms and the GP's not helping, like what can you do? But yeah, I mean it is possible to manage the symptoms, definitely. I follow this one PCOS Instagram person, and she fully had a child recently, and I was like so proud because that's something I'm really scared about, like not being able to have kids. So it's fighting a losing battle, and it is so hard. It is so hard. Yeah. And you know, trying to balance like life while also dealing with this, it's really hard. Like I don't know, I feel like I try to stick to like a schedule and a routine to kind of help my lifestyle, but I can't really do that. Like clearly I can't with my whole streaming schedule. It's like all over the place. It's really hit or miss when I'm gonna stream, and you know, one day I might stream, one day I might not. One day I might say I'm gonna stream in 30 minutes and fall asleep for 3 hours. So it's really hard to like balance it all. And that's why I was like, I'm gonna stop posting about it because it's something I'm living with. And yeah, the nap, yeah. See, that was because I literally felt so weak. Like my arms from like here all the way to my hands felt really like numb. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna lie down and just like relax a little bit. And then I just died. I died. I passed out. But sometimes you need to listen to your body. I already didn't really feel 100% about streaming, and then the whole like lagging the stream was lagging, blah blah blah. So I was just like, yeah, today's not the day. So I gave myself a little break. I think that was on Friday that happened. And then yesterday I literally slept the whole day. And then today I've been a bit more productive. I woke up still quite late, but I ate a good decent sandwich and then I did some revision. You can nap anywhere so you get it. No, literally, yeah. If I'm tired, then I'm going. I'm napping. Yeah, this has felt nice to get that off my chest. I just yeah, I don't know. And I don't know if any other like streamers, haven't really heard of any streamers that have PCOS or talk about it. So why not use my platform to talk about it? Especially it's something I'm living with. You know? I've always wanted to talk about it, like, because I feel like it's very like unknown and not really understood. But yeah. Anywho, I'm gonna switch to the game now, so we can like talk and play. But what was I doing? Quests. I have found all the stuff for this one and this one. Not this one. Where is it? Oh, this one. The Dreamlight Park Fest, because that's like the thing that's happening right now in Disney Dreamlight Valley. So we can continue with, I think we can continue with the weekly quests because I want to know what the theme is, and then we'll do the natural what's it called? Nature nurture story quest. I just realized that my sound is not connected to my headphones, so I don't even know. I think you can hear me because my mic is like on. But anyway, you guys like my hat? I did a quest for Goofy and he gave me this hat. Also, I was like thinking my character's got a big bunda for real. What was I doing? Talk to McScrooge. I think before we do that, I'm gonna do some of my like daily cleaning my valley. But we will go and hang out with Donald. Best hat, it slays. Thanks, guys. It's literally Goofy's hat. He was like, I want to match with you. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. Okay. So I'm gonna hang out with Donald because I want to level him up to level 10. Oh, thank you for redeeming your Daily Gold coin. Your first of many, I hope. I always have to put I hope at the end just in case they don't want to collect any more gold coins, you know? It's not an obligation. Or is it? No, it's not. No. But yeah, I'm in the process of leveling up all my characters. I prioritize the ones that I liked the most, which is maybe a bit biased, but when I got Mirabelle, I literally did her straight away. I love Encanto. Encanto is like one of my favorite Disney movies. Kristoff, I just did because I needed to do mining, and he was like one of the only mining ones that I didn't level up to level 10 yet. Oh, thank you, Little Shack, for redeeming your second gold coin. Racking it up. I actually don't know who has the most gold coins, but I want to do something special like at the end of the year to see who's got the most gold coins. I think that'd be kind of cool. And then when I got Daisy and Minnie, I've been trying to work them up, but I mean, to be fair, we could hang out with Daisy instead of Donald. But I was doing a quest with Donald, that's why I was hanging out with him earlier. But yeah, these are all level 10. He's very close to level 10. I can't do anything with Scar yet. But when I got Ursula and I changed her to Vanessa, I instantly just was like, I'm going to hang out with her because she's so pretty. But now she's level 10. I can't do... Oh my god. That was... I need to change my sounds. Scary, man. This game is actually kind of scary. Like, when I saw the Forgotten... So, I don't know if you guys know the lore, but like... The whole place got, like, covered in those thorns that I was getting rid of. And the Forgotten was the reason of that. And when I followed them to wherever they were, it was actually quite scary and dark in them. Hello, Sergio! I hope I'm doing well. I am doing well, thank you. Hope you are doing well as well. I just said well so many times in one sentence. That was tongue twister. Thank you for redeeming a daily cold coin. It's good to see you here. But now that you're home, I get that feeling so much. Where have you been? If you don't mind me asking. I don't know why I put my character in hills. She just has to run around in hills. That must be so painful to do. Oh my gosh, Liv! Hi, Liv! Thank you for redeeming your daily gold coin. It's good to see you here. You with your sister. Her birthday was yesterday, so you got her a present. Oh, cute! Happy birthday to your sister. What did you end up getting her? Libby! How are you, Lib? I don't know if you're at work or something, because I don't know what time it is there. I can never maths the time zones correctly in my head. You're pretty good. I'm doing good as well. I was like having a little rant before starting stream. Not rant, but just a conversation about PCOS and doctors and how ass they are. But other than that, I'm feeling fine. Just a low maintenance stream because not 100% feeling myself. She wanted a Pandora bracelet for a while, so I bought her a bracelet and some charms. Oh my goodness, I love Pandora. I have a Pandora bracelet of my own. But yeah, I love those, and I think it's a great gift to get. Like, you can literally just buy charms, like, for birthdays, Christmas, anything, really. It's 4:30 in New York. Wow, New York! Oh my gosh. I want to go to New York. See the Big Apple. I mean, I just want to go to America in general, just as a holiday, though. I wouldn't personally move there. But I do want to go there as a holiday. I went when I was, like, really young. I think I went to Florida. And I went to... What's it called? Disneyland? But I don't remember the trip, obviously, because I was, like, 6 years old. And my memory's pretty bad. Yeah. We're just gonna clear the, like, daily spawning of, like, stuff. And then rack up some monies. Go to Scrooge's shop. Potentially buy something. If it's changed. Because I did play this at, like, 4 a.m. this morning. Maybe do Daisy's daily challenge. And... oh, okay. I need to sell some things. And then we'll do some quests. Because I did some, like, grinding off of stream. Because the quest was just taking too long to get iron ores. And also the red soil. Oh my god. If you guys were here last stream, you would have seen me just struggling to get red soil. I had no idea what red soil was before the quest. And then I found out I had to harvest, like, plant, like, my garden to get red soil. But it had a low spawn rate, so it took forever. You're blaming me for it, but you're playing Valorant? Well, don't play comp. Take my advice. Don't do it. Not the soil. Not the soil. It was so long. I don't want to accidentally sell something. I always fucking do that. 13.5k? What am I selling that's so expensive? This? What else? You are playing comp. Oh, well, good luck. I would never play comp like willingly. I only ever play comp when my friends are like, I want to play comp and they don't want to play on their own. So I like try to tell myself that I don't play it seriously, but I think I do take it quite seriously and I get very angry. I got some blue buttons, by the way, when I was fishing, which was really cool. I can plant that stuff. Don't know if I need those still, but I don't want to risk selling it. I also found this time capsule that I didn't want to open off stream, so I just saved it. I think it was for Donald's quest. I still don't know what those flowers with the buttons do. You hate unrated because it's a wider bracket. I'm bronze silver and I'm getting it. No, yeah, I'm also bronze silver and I wouldn't do unrated either, honestly, because I was like, where's my garden? Sorry, my brain. Yeah, but I wouldn't do unrated either because there's no reward. Like, you just spend how long playing unrated just for you to, like, not get anything from it. But I guess it's good practice if you do want to do comp. But the thing is, I always play with, like, a bunch of my friends. So either we're in a 5-stack, or if we're not in a 5-stack, we still get put against, like, silvers. And while I have hit silver, I am bronze right now, and my friend is bronze as well. And one of our friends is iron. So we get put against silvers, and my friends are just struggling. Oh my gosh, Cat, hi! Thank you for doing a Daily Go coin. You have 6 now? That's cray cray. Cray cray. How am I today? Oh my god. Donald, I don't want to talk to you. I am doing okay. I am just tired. When am I not tired though? I was having a little rant about doctors because they do nothing. I'm gonna literally tell everybody that joins. Save my game. That's a good idea. Yeah, I'm gonna tell everybody that joins about my little rant about the doctors because oh my god, Donald, please. Sorry, I'm trying to talk, but every time I try to put something down, Donald is in my fucking way. Anyways. Yeah, I'm gonna just tell everybody about my rant about doctors because doctors are ass and they don't help me. They dismissed me when I begged them for autism assessment and now you have one 4 years later. That is crazy. I don't get it. Oh my gosh. My boyfriend just came home. It's food. I just started a stream, by the way. I just started stream. You're fit now? No. They legit just smell. You'll be able to always make sure you eat. Yeah, he does. Because I don't really like going in the kitchen to cook. And also, I just, I don't know. I don't really want to eat. Even though I'm hungry, I don't like eating. But I should eat because I get very weak and very shaky and just feel really ill when I don't eat. So it's good that he makes meat. They must be better than the ones we have over here. Overpaid and unqualified, in my opinion. I don't know. They're not. I mean, most NHS is like underpaid. And so I think they just do the bare minimum. In my opinion. Even though my mum literally works in the NHS, but she's a nurse and she doesn't, she's not a doctor, so she doesn't do all the like diagnosis stuff. She just treats people. But doctors, yeah, definitely ass. Legit, most clueless when you have a degree for it, but nurses work so hard. Yeah, nurses work so freaking hard. Like, if you study nursing in uni, you literally get made to do like free labor and you have to do it. Oh my gosh, hi Pushing P. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing? Welcome in. It's good to see you. I mean, we are just having a little rant about GPs, doctors. So, you know. Thank you, Sleepy, for redeeming your daily gold coin. Sleepy is my boyfriend, lol. You know, it's a bit unfair that you would redeem so many gold coins, Sleepy, because he's obviously gonna always be in my stream because I'm always pestering him like, can you check my stream is working? Your sister is a better doctor than my primary doctor. It's ridiculous. That is crazy. Hi, welcome. Yeah, welcome in. You're glad I'm doing well. You're doing well as well. Just got into bed. Oh my goodness. What? Oh, are you from the UK as well? It is pretty late here. And tomorrow's Monday. Um, she's an ISA phlebotomist. I have no idea what that is, but that sounds pretty cool. You are? Okay, okay. Fellow UK resider. I don't know. But yes. I think Kat is also from the UK. I'm sorry my streams are pretty late. This is like the time I have for myself, I guess. Just before my boyfriend gets home, and it keeps me busy. And I get quite drained from revising. You're from Yorkshire? I'm not gonna dock myself. I'm from near London. Near London, that's it, yeah. You're also from Yorkshire? You're both from Yorkshire? That's crazy. Small world. Medical professional who collects blood samples from patients. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, at least someone has knowledge around you. Oh my. It's so loud, oh, every time. But yeah, that is my favorite sound alert to this day, even though it's not really trending on TikTok as much anymore. Oh my gosh, we got a clothing bag. Oh, a bracelet. It's my first bracelet. Let's wear it. Oh, it took off my jacket. I don't like that. Oh, it took off my whole outfit. Now, okay, right. Sorry, Goofy. We're gonna take our hat off. And I'm gonna put on the little outfit I had on before Goofy gave me his hat. It was this cute little, like, I don't even know what to call this, but I think it's a cute little outfit I put together. The jacket and her earrings are from, oh, what's it called? Beauty and the Beast. So her earrings are like, a rose thorn bush. If you go quiet, you've fallen asleep. Wow. That's good though. You should sleep probably. But it'll be good to have you here. You can just use my voice as a soothing way to fall asleep. See, if I was playing any other game, I'd probably be screaming down the mic. Thanks for the hydrate, cat. And then the coat is also from Beauty and the Beast. And then I got these cute Minnie and Mickey trousers, like patchwork trousers. And then the black shoes. They keep it quite sophisticated. I can smell the food and it's just making me more hungry. God. Chippy chippy choppa choppa boopy doopy dabba 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 dabba. Okay, let's go to Glade of Trust. Even though it's right there, I am using the teleport. Does anyone in here play Fortnite? Because the new season is coming at the end of next week, and there's been a live events and stuff that I've kept missing, by the way. But I'm very excited to see what the new season is, because like even though this season has been fun, it's getting a bit boring. You keep forgetting that you use different words across the font. It's so cute. I don't really play Fortnite. I suck at the game. Wait, what did I say? But yeah, I mean, with Fortnite, I'm not amazing at it, but I just mostly focus on doing like the quests. And my friend has this like low level account that we queue with, so then we get put into like bot lobbies, and it's just like chill. Oh, trousers. Oh yeah, yeah. You used to, you're debating downloading it again. Just have to sacrifice Fallout 76. Well, apparently the new season is gonna be similar vibe to like Mad Max, Fallout, like that kind of thing. So it might be interesting to you. I mean, I recently watched Fallout the series because my sister was pretty obsessed with it and she wanted me to watch it with her. And I was like, yeah, why not? Like it seems like a pretty good show, and like I've heard of the game but I've never really understood it. So I watched it and I really enjoyed it. So I might get the game. I just don't know which game to start with. Apparently it doesn't matter which game to start with, but I want to do it in order, if there is an order. You played the OG Fortnite but haven't for a while. I think I played it and then had a massive break, to be fair. So, you know, might as well try in the new season. It's apparently gonna be cool. You love Fallout, it's so funny in certain missions. Do you have a recommendation on which game I should try first? Because I am considering getting a game, like one of them. And just pray that my laptop can run it. And then maybe I'll stream it. I don't know. I don't really want to stream like games that take too much of my attention though, because when I try and talk and then I'm also trying to concentrate, my thought process just completely goes out the window. Like sometimes in this game as well, like if I'm concentrating on something, I will probably start yapping in a way that doesn't make any sense. Like right now, probably. Anything in particular? How are you on scary games? I love scary games. I love horror games. I mean, obviously I get scared and I'll scream and I'll want to quit, but I quite like a good horror game, yeah. Scary game. Chippy chippy choppa choppa. I'm really hungry and I can smell the food. I might have to eat on stream. Fallout 4 is the first one you played, which was fun. It explains what happens in the bunker, and then you go on a mission to find the your stolen son. You can play Fallout 76 with others, which has so many missions. Oh, like your child. And Fallout 76 is like multiplayer, is that what you mean? Chippy chippy choppa choppa choopy choopy choppa choppa. I'm gonna keep that hardware just in case. I'm really so super hungry. Oh my god, I just can keep getting a whiff of this food and it's making me want to eat. Yeah, basically. You get frozen in a bunker with your baby, they come and take it and shoot your wife, basically. That's crazy. But also interesting. Amnesia, The Dark Descent. What's that? Is that a game? I have a lot of money in this game right now. I'm gonna put some stuff home. Yeah, it's a scary game, but very well made. Okay, I can look into it. You played it. I do like a good horror or scary game. I do want to get some, maybe a few more, especially, oh, sorry. Especially if I do the 1,000 follower TikTok live special thing. I want to have some horror games lined up for that. Because it will be like one of the incentives, like if we get a certain amount of followers or whatever, I'll play a horror game in the dark. Or the semi-dark, so you can still see me. Yeah, it's an old one, but still a good game. Great sounds and very creepy atmosphere. Okay, okay. I like it, I like it. I forgot how I organized my thing. What was the iron for? I don't remember. No, right button. Oh, I can't look at the map right now. Escape. Quest. Oh, iron was for make it mini. Okay. Chippy chippy choppa choppa doopy doopy choppa. I'm just gonna put that in there for now. Honestly, I don't really know. You um you recently played it, the bunker, and oh, Amnesia the bunker, and good lord, I was fighting demons. Is it really that scary? Also, I'm gonna play some music because I realized that the silence is deafening me. Okay. I would play like the music in the game, but it just annoys me. Do I really need this many gemstone things? I don't know. It's like clogging up my thing. And I have so much stone. Yeah, you have to keep finding petrol to run a generator which keeps lights on in the bunker because the demon thing doesn't like them. Oh my god. Chippy chippy choppa. Bro, even though I was reading the chat, that still scared the shizzle out of me. Like, I genuinely was just like so focused on trying to understand what was written in chat. Is that a Bibble emo? Oh my god, I love Bibble. 3 jump scares now. Yeah, I know. And it's like, I'm not even playing a horror game. What is this? Boop, 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 boop. I might have to eat on stream, guys. Is that okay? Is that weird? Awesome, awesome L, awesome Lee, emo. If that's how you spell name on Twitch. Oh, okay, okay, okay. I do like that. Eat whatever you want, guys. Just stream. I know, but I don't want to just sit here mushing food in my face. And yeah, people might get grossed out, you know? What is this, a mukbang stream? I mean, it could be. Mukbang streams on top. I gotta get the ASMR parts in as well. I gotta get really close to the mic and just be like, yum, 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 yum. Oh, I think I'd actually cringe at myself if I did that though. Like, I love watching, like, videos of people eating. Like, not, like, extreme mukbang, but I follow this one girl on TikTok called Gigi Flavor, and she does, like, eating her meal every day, like, what she eats, like, her 3 meals a day and her snack and whatever. And that's quite calm. It's not, like, extreme anything, but she does make quite a lot of noises, which I don't, like, you know, like, eating noises. But I mean, it makes sense because she's making an eating video, but like, I think I would cringe at myself doing that. They always use that head with the microphone in the ears. Found out they cost like 7K. Wait, what? The microphone in the ears? Some eating noises make me want to eat a static TV. I've never heard of that one before. I love that though. I mean, it's very funny. No, yeah, especially if you're wearing headphones, you can just hear it in your soul. You like feel it in your soul. Oh, I forgot to change my VOD setting, so my VOD's gonna be really low quality again. I posted like TikToks and it was just so crispy looking because my VOD settings were weird. You know those ear things ASMR people use? They cost a lot. Ear things? I don't really know. Am I dumb? I'm a bit slow. Hi there, pal. Hi there, Goofy. I'm hungry, Goofy. Can I go grab the food? Yes, I should. I think I got tacos. I don't really know what he got me, actually. Wait, can I post a link in the chat for them? I don't know how to explain. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if my thing has any restriction, but you're mod, so it should be fine. 7-5 at halftime. Ooh. Okay, at least no, like, 8-4 curse or 3-9 curse, 9-3 curse. For devious things. Those devious things. Okay, I'm gonna have to click on this. Is it gonna open to me? It is. Oh! What the heck? I've literally never seen this in my life. What do? They just like eat really close to each other? Is that a microphone? It is a microphone. That looks very weird. You're 699. That's pretty good. 9 assists is pretty good. Yeah, the microphone is in the ears. That's strange. But there are another version like that, but the whole head. What the heck? Okay, is it meant to like make their stream look more aesthetic or something? Yes. Well done. Okay. I'm gonna get the food. Hold on. Oh my god, guys, look at this. Oh, wait. I have tacos. crispy. I think this is mine. Sleepy. It's oh, hello. Oh my god, feed. Yes, welcome straight in, and I'm gonna be eating. I don't know if that's gonna gross anybody out, especially their tacos. It's literally falling apart. But I don't know if this is mine. Hold on, let me just check the bag. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. He got me like all three of the sauces I asked for. He got sour cream, guacamole, and peri peri sauce. Like he got it from work, so what was I gonna say? He got it from work, and so he's not normally meant to like take that much stuff. But he got me 3 of the sauces I wanted. You're so hungry. Go get some food. Wait, you guys have tacos? Yes, of course you have tacos. Miss Pirates? Miss Pirates? What pirates? Oh, I missed the Pirate of the Caribbean. Yeah, I did have that sound is so iconic to my streams. Like when I first added it, it's like one of the first sounds I added, and everyone used to just play it on repeat. I literally had to put a restriction on it because people played all the time. Yeah, there's a Taco Bell. Yeah, there's a Taco Bell near me as well. But this is my boyfriend works at like a independent restaurant, so I'm not gonna say the name, otherwise you're gonna know where I live. Never would have guessed that. Yeah, there's tacos here. Haven't eaten much today at all. I hadn't either, but now I'm eating, so make sure you go eat as well. You need to make sure you eat. You would redeem it again, but yeah, it has a time limit on it. Because people used to spam the shizzles out of that. Right, I don't know how to eat this because the tacos actually melted away. Like, it's just disintegrated. I don't know how I meant to eat it. It's actually gone. Your boyfriend wants to go get takeaway? Do it! Get it! What takeaway would you get? Look, it's literally disappeared. Like, half of my taco is gone. Like, the other side of this is gone. I don't know how I'm gonna pick up the taco and eat it. Like, I need a fork or something. And then, we have our 3 sauces. And chips. You've been restricted? Oh, yeah. He wants to get doner meat and chips. Oh, banger. Banging. I'm just gonna eat the chips because I don't know how to eat the tacos. I need like a spoon. So, let's taste test the sauces, even though I know what they taste like. Sour cream. I'll rate them for you. It's very clumpy. It's lacking a bit of flavor. It doesn't taste like your usual sour cream. The initial bite is quite tasteless. Well, in your defense, you've always heard the food there is very underwhelming. Yes, it is kind of. Even the Taco Bell, like we have Taco Bell, but it's probably nothing like in America. Glad I'm eating though. Thank you. Okay. Sour cream. I'm gonna rate them like which one's my favorite. Sour cream. It was my favorite for a while. Anyways, guacamole. It's actually got flavor to it today. Like it's quite salty. Usually I would put yeah, no, literally normally guacamole tastes like nothing, and I would normally put salt and pepper in it, but this tastes really flavorsome, guys. Like it tastes really good. My boyfriend probably mashed the avocado himself today or something, so they have to make their own guac. Okay, that's the guac. This is peri peri sauce, like hot sauce. You don't like guac? That is fair enough. It's not for everyone. I mean, I don't I didn't really like avocados for a long time until like I really liked guac, and then I liked avocados a bit. Hot sauce is so good. It is. Now this is what I really wanted. Lovely. Today the guacamole is really good. So I'm gonna give the winning slot to guac today because it's really good for once. You love sweet chili sauce? I actually have sweet chili sauce as well. It's like in my little cupboard down there. But I love sweet chili sauce as well. Especially if I'm eating like spring rolls. Poll for the peeps, American or English mustard? I cannot lie, I have never had English mustard. Wait, can I actually set up a poll? Wait, I can. Let's do a new poll. Which mustard? Although I've never personally had it. British or Merrima's? American. Make a whole ass poll for you. There you go. I always forget just how hot it is though. Really? Your sweet chili is hot? I feel like I'm quite good with hot stuff, so I don't really notice it. Someone not that hot. Yeah, someone not that hot. You can't stand mustard? I personally never had mustard. I think I've had British mustard, but I don't know. Plus, maybe I'm just biased because I'm British. I'm gonna be like, yeah, British mustard, yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna attempt the taco again. It's actually, I don't know. I might need to get a fork. I will be right back. I'm getting a fork. Okay, I got the fork. Right, this is gonna be very weird. Don't judge me, okay? I don't normally eat a taco with forks. It's just this one's half of it's broke, like just gone out of the window. I want to try and pick it up, but I just think it's gonna all fall out, so I don't think I can. I want to show you guys, but it's like completely, oh my god, I'm picking up the whole paper with it. I made it worse. It's just falling out. I'm gonna have to just scoop it and eat it. Crush it up a bit. It's already pretty crushed up. I was gonna try and pick it up and show you guys. Oh, I can. Okay. It just looks really gross. But can you guys kind of understand what I'm saying? Like, half of the taco shell is no longer existent. Like, I don't even know how that happened. Blend it up. Ooh, no. You thought they were like hard shell? They are meant to be hard shell. It is meant to be. I'm gonna eat this in a nice way. But like half of it's like melted. Like, I think the moisture of the chicken has made it like rip taco shell, literally. Looks yummy though. Yeah, could be in my belly talking. It is very yummy still. Like all the food, like all the flavors still there. So that's all that matters really. I do want to put some sauce on it though. Processing in my head how I'm gonna execute this in the most nice manner because I have people watching me eat. Oh my god, please. Okay, I broke it in half. Oh, it just. I was gonna like. It fell. It's a mess. This is a mess, guys. It's actually just a mess. It's falling apart. Like, it's completely falling apart. I want some guac. Put some guac on there. Okay. American mustard won? Oh. Damn. That's surprising. I mean, I don't really know what it tastes like, but now I might want to try it. If it's really that good. There's no crunch to it, so I can't even give you guys a crunch. Thank you for the look. But yeah. I'm trying to give a crunch, but there's no crunch because it's like melted. It's not spicy. Oh, is it? Okay. Maybe I'll like it then. Because, I mean, I don't really mind spice, but my dad's quite obsessed with mustard. And I'm pretty sure when I did try it, it just like did go up my nose. Or like, I just remember somebody describing it as going up their nose, like really sharp. Okay, let's put some hot sauce, some peri peri sauce on there. You hated mustard until you tried American mustard? Okay. Where can I get some American mustard then? Do they sell it in the UK? Oh my gosh, I can't eat. Let's go. Okay. I'll have a look out for it. Oh, when I went in the kitchen, I should have got my Pepsi. You won? Oh, you won your comp? You got better luck than I do. I played so many comps last night and we just kept losing. The last win I had was because the enemy team was trying to D-rank, so they just gave us a win. I don't know, that says a lot, to be fair. I don't know if I'm bad, but I think I'm a bit burnt out from Valorant, so maybe that's what. Pace Bronze 1, basically lost. No, Bronze 1 is... Bronze 1's not that bad. Honestly, if you've not been playing the game for a while, you can't expect to like to be straight back into it. Like, you're probably a bit rusty. Me personally, I never played FPS games, so Valorant's the first one I've ever played and the first one I've done competitive play for, so I don't really beat myself up for being in bronze. I post stuff about it, and people would get so like agitated. Maybe because I'm a girl, but they're just like saying stuff that are mean. And I'm just like, honestly, I don't really care because I never claimed that I was amazing at the game. You have bad ping because you were installing R6. Why are you playing while installing something really big? No, my friend always has really bad ping. I think it's her Wi-Fi though. I don't know. She plays on a HP laptop, like a small one, not even a gaming laptop, nothing. And it's actually crazy that she even plays as well as she does because her setup's quite bad. Oh my gosh, Max, hi! I'm just eating on stream and yapping. You played ranked Fortnite? Are my eyes deceiving me? Or did you just say you played ranked Fortnite? Everybody, guys, this is Max. He's one of my friends. He never plays ranked. He never plays competitive. What is this? Who are you? Are you sure you're Max? Is this actually Max? Am I being conned? You've grown up playing games on COD, so it's been No, I said you. Oh, you didn't say me though. You didn't say me. You said play ranked. Oh. Oh. I assumed you meant you. Like you were in a ranked game. I don't want to play ranked Fortnite. I like my bot lobbies. I can't read. Clearly. Yeah, I think I played ranked like once. I don't remember why. But yeah, Fortnite is my calm thing. Your point still stands. BLB, okay, Cap? No, I want to stream the Guitar Hero. That was very fun last night. We literally stayed up till like 5 AM playing Fortnite Festival. Oh my god. Actually crazy. Oh my god. Yes, Guitar Hero. Oh cool, do it, man. I probably will. Not right now though. I'm on Disney Dreamlight Valley right now. We're just chilling. I will be coming on to game afterwards though. Oh. CP, my taco has fallen apart by the way. Everybody, CP is my boyfriend who bought the food. So I'm just telling him the taco fell apart. I don't know why. But it fell apart and I'm eating with a fork. I'm eating a hard-shelled taco with a fork. They fell apart. No, it's not even that they fell apart. Half of the shell became... Yeah, half of the shell literally just became like soft. I think because of the moisture from the chicken. Rip taco. Rip taco for real. Oh. I'm just trying to like enjoy it even though it's falling apart. Soft is better. Okay, next time I'll have a soft taco. But it's just funny I decided to eat on stream when it's like the most messiest thing to eat. I think the guac definitely won today though, guys. I've literally almost finished it. The peri peri is like, I like to eat it mixed with the sour cream. Is that weird? Yes, it is a mukbang stream! I don't know if there's even... I don't even put myself in the mukbang category. I'm not about to do that. I put just chatting because we're technically chatting still. Oh, I could have done ASMR, but the hard taco is not hard. It doesn't have a crunch. Yeah, what I eat in a day with Timmy. I'm still quite shy, like, putting it in my mouth, like, in front of the camera, though. I can't believe there's so many of you just watching me eat. I hope you guys go get some food as well, or make sure you've eaten as well, because it's important. And I think I wouldn't have been able to continue streaming after if I didn't eat right now. The chips are good. They're cold because I didn't put them in the oven, in the microwave, but they're still so good. And the guac is so good today. It's so good. It's so salty and actually has flavor to it for once. But I'm really enjoying stream today, actually. We've had a very good conversation about how awful doctors are. And I know I've said it so many times, but it really is a very annoying thing that's happening right now in my life, so... And now I'm eating on stream. This is like the most chill stream ever. I don't even have my headphones on, we're just chilling. Yeah. Very, very, very... Getting a bit full, which is good. Now we can finish the quest. Good. Yeah. CP's just posture check. It's because I'm trying to not like show you guys me putting food in my mouth. Yeah, CP was just trying to get some stuff. I should have got a knife as well to cut up the taco shell. Stop! What are you doing? You should come on camera and do it. Oh no. Okay, fine. Yeah. I'm eat my sour cream and peri peri. I feel like I'm taking so long eating. Yum, 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 yum. I don't know how to eat this because I need to break it in half. Okay. I don't know if I want to even finish all of this taco because it just is a bit sad. Okay. This is the last bit of taco shell. The broken taco shell. No! Dropping it everywhere. Tacos are so messy to eat. Even when they're not broken. I think this time it's not completely my fault that it's messy. Now I just have tomatoes left. I don't really want to eat the tomatoes, like, on their own. But yeah. I'm done with my taco, so I'm just gonna put this away. And then we can do our quest. I'm gonna probably do the Dreamlight Park Fest quest because I want to know what I'm gonna make, or like if we can decorate our valley into a like theme park. But I don't have a lot of space, so I don't know how it's gonna work. I'm just waiting for the day that I have unlocked all the biomes. I'm so excited to do that actually, but I'm gonna stream it, but sorry. A piece of the chili sauce went right to the back of my throat. I'm gonna like, when I unlock all the biomes, I'm gonna go through each biome, completely strip it, and then like redecorate it. I just can't wait. I'm gonna make it look so pretty. And I also really want to work on my storage room. Oh my gosh, hi Ghost! Thank you for redeeming a daily gold coin. I'm just having a little break. I'm just eating my dinner at 10:22. I know, a bit light, but yeah, I'm very excited to get all the biomes, and we're gonna just strip down each biome, redecorate the whole thing, and then I'm also gonna work on my storage room. And I have this inspiration. I don't know if I still have the picture, but it was so pretty. Wait, let me try and find it. Dreamlight Valley storage room ideas. Did I find it on Pinterest maybe? It was like a greenhouse. All the things you're eating too. Yay! We're eating together. Let's go. Let me go on Pinterest. I don't actually have the Pinterest app. I have to use my Google. My whole For You page on Pinterest is just Disney Dreamlight Valley. Because I saved like one Disney Dreamlight Valley thing. Oh yeah, here, this is it. No. I don't know if I can, if you guys can see. It's like a greenhouse vibe basically. That's what I want to do for my storage room, which you can't see it on my phone, but when I make it, you guys will understand what I mean. I've just like mixed the peri peri sauce into the sour cream now because while I can deal with spice, I don't want to not enjoy it. So the sour cream makes it less spicy, and then I enjoy it more. I'm gonna have to wash my hands as well after this. When I do my 1K TikTok live, I think I will play Fortnite. Don't know if I'll play Disney Dreamlight Valley. I'm gonna play Fortnite and probably more like horror games, I think. And then I'm gonna do a cosplay. I'm gonna wear my cosplay while I play Fortnite. You're going to bed now? You have to be at 5 a.m? Okay. Good night. Have a good rest. Bye. It was good to have you guys here. I'll see you guys soon. Okay. Let me just clean up my desk. And then we'll get on with the quests. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I just had to clean up and we will do some quests now for a little bit before saying goodnight because it is getting a bit late. Thank you everyone who was watching me just eat. I didn't expect people to still want to stick around for that. I don't know. So I know some people find like watching other people eat is quite gross, but it was fun. Had a little debate about which mustard people are like. Anyways, okay, let's go talk to Scrooge. Let's do some quests. Because I've been waiting to do the quests. I don't want to do it off stream. When I collected all the items, I was like, I want to move on. I want to do it. I want to know what happens. But I just wanted to wait to do it with you guys. So let's go talk to Scrooge McDuck. Right. This one. Knock me over with a twig. I got all the supplies. Yay. Ooh, okay, so we're gonna make some Disney Park balloons and new colorful benches. Okay, let's do it. Okay. Okay, and I get a reward for doing it. Okay, let's go and craft. Literally, there's a crafting table right here in Goofy's house, which is good. My headset feels weird now that I put it back on. But do I have access to all my items? What am I doing? What am I making? Colorful benches. I need to make 5 of those. And Disney Park balloons. I need to make 5 of those. Nice. And then we gotta put them around the valley. Okay. Let's put one like here. And okay. Let me get rid of. Oh, I need to harvest those. Okay, hold on. We want to make everything look quite symmetrical. Okay. And then I want to put this. And we can put like some balloons next to what's his face? Goofy's thingy. That's cute, right? Okay, and then let's put some in the Glade of Trust. I think I'll put a... Oh my god, there's so many trees. I'm gonna put a balloon next to his shop again. Oh, need a little bit more space for it. Okay, and then we could put a bench like in between these 2 trees. That would be cute, wouldn't it? Do we have it facing that way or facing the other way? Facing the other way. Facing like the pond. Yeah. Okay, and then let's go to the Forest of the Law. I think would be another good place to put the bench. But where? Oh yeah, here. This fountain, which Disney gave us for free. Disney Dreamlight Valley developers gave us for free. I'll put that like right in front of the fountain. And then I think one on the beach would be nice, like here. Okay. Okay, cute. And then 3 more balloons to put up. So I'll put one here, next to Goofy's stall, and another one next to his other stall in here. The trees are very annoying, I can't lie to you. And then, here's all the Goofy stalls we have, so maybe we can put some, like, around here, maybe. Next to Scrooge's shop. Is that all of them? It is. Okay. Now we have to return to Scrooge. Where is Scrooge? He's right there. We did it. Okay, complete that one. Yay! What did I get? Green buttons. I'm pretty sure this... I don't remember what it does to... Like, the buttons do. I don't know what they do. Let me... Oh, I pressed the wrong thing. Crafting. What does the buttons make? A naughty gift? What is that? Oh, if you're naughty? Oh, I was thinking of something completely wrong. What are the buttons even for? I do want to make this elegant gazebo one day. Okay. And then, what other quests did we need to finish? What did I do? Oh. What did I do? Anyways, I think Scrooge has another quest for us. How did he get down there so fast? Yeah, you know what you thought. Nobody noticed that at all. No, nothing happened. Have you got time for Dreamlight? Yes, I do. Well, let's do... Oh. Okay, I have to bake stuff. Oh, I have to cook those again. I mean, I want to decorate the park more. Stream clipped. Wow. You clipped it? Great. There's evidence now. I forget that that is a thing. Stitch cupcake. I don't have the ingredients for that. World will never know. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I think I'm just gonna do the time capsule quest because I wanted to open it on stream. And now I got the time capsule. Oh, I need to open it. Oh, it's in my house. Oh, I just went in there. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, okay. Where did I even put the time capsule in here? Okay, I need to open it now. Use. What do we find? A puzzle piece? Okay, talk to Donald about what you've uncovered. Donald. And if Merlin was there, it must be really important. What did he tell you? Oh, okay. He doesn't remember. Place on the... Okay. That's the new biome we just unlocked, Sunlit. Catfish community. Let's go to Sunlit. Okay. Let's go. Go to Sunlit and find the location from the memory. Oh, I always press the wrong button. I need memories. There's another capsule here. Bones. Okay. I think I can remember where that is from. Let's go. I don't think it's... Is it those bones? I don't think it's these bones. I hate how it gets darker here. It's very spooky. Ah, move! I think it's not those bones. I think it's bones over this way, looking towards the fountain, because I can see the fountain in the picture. Is it on the other fucking side of the water? Are you kidding me? How do I make it? How do I update? Oh, how do I upgrade my thing? My watering can or my shovel, whatever it is. Is it that? Or is it over here? I think it's here. Oh, it's here! Thank God! I was gonna cry. Investigate the biome to see if anything... Oh. Oh, I found it. Okay, never mind. Give it to him. Is he gonna unlock it for us? Another time capsule, but this one looks different, and it's locked tight, up tight. Whatever, it must be super important. Try flashing it around a rock. You should apologize. Let's just forget the whole argument. Never let him find out you were wrong. I think apologize. They were fighting, so it will make them feel better. Like they'll make up. Okay, so oh, that was the end of the quest. Are we not gonna find out what's in there? Okay, so doing minis one, I still need to grind 200 clay, so I'm not gonna do that. But I'm gonna quickly just finish the main story quest because I did grind for that as well. Then maybe I can start leveling up Scar. Because I hate when my characters are like less than 5 level. What'd it be? Okay, I need to craft the miracle growth elixir. All that rich soil that I frigging grinded for gone within seconds. And then I have to use the magical growth elixir in my backpack to upgrade my watering can. How do I do that? How do I do that? Use. Oh, is it upgraded now? My watering can? I mean, I kind of want my... Is it the watering can that gets rid of the mushrooms, or is it the shovel? I want whatever it is to be upgraded so that I can... I just want to be able to expand my biomes, you know? Plant the orb of nurturing in the ground before the pillar. Oh, I need to tend it until it grows. It will take a bit of patience, and orb, the spark will return to it. Okay. I'm gonna have to plant the orb of nurturing, which is weird to think about. I have to plant an orb. That's... yeah. I mean, it's magical to be fair, so it makes sense. I think it's the shovel that gets rid of the mushrooms, I can't lie. Oh. Wait. Was there already a section that says that I need to plant it in? Oh, I got rid of it. That's okay. Where do I plant it? Here? Does it matter where? Just in front of it? Like here? Okay. This may take a few days. Oh my god. Okay, that's fine. That is fine, yeah. Because we will probably end the stream here. It's been a crazy one. We had a few rants. I even gave you guys a whole mukbang session. But I need to do a bunch of grinding off stream so that we'd be able to continue with the quests. So I'm just going to end the stream here and I don't know when I'll be next live. I've got an exam coming up on Wednesday, but if I feel like I can fit it in, you guys will know on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere. But yeah, thank you all for joining today for one, and also for the 1K followers on TikTok. It's still blowing my mind, but yeah, I will see you guys when I next see you.